401 lesson. 408 and 409. I thought you would like some music while we're getting ready. Sorry about that. I had to close it out so I could talk. Hope you enjoyed the little intro music. We are doing lesson 8 and lesson 9 in geometry 203B. And I wanted to go over secants and tangents. There's a lot of stuff in this lesson, so make sure you pay careful attention to all the little details. Okay, we now know what a secant is, and we now know what a tangent is. Now let's look at angles associated with those two figures. So we have option, first we're going to look at how a tangent works. Okay, remember a tangent is a line that touches the circle in one spot. Okay, how is that associated with an angle? Well, if I take this point of tangency and I draw another line out of it, or actually in this case a ray, I have some angles formed. So I have an angle over here and I have an angle over here. Now, you need to look at this carefully. Where is the vertex? Is this a central angle? No. Is it an inscribed angle? Yes. It's a little tricky to see, but it is an inscribed angle. It's just formed with a tangent. So it uses the same rules as an inscribed angle. So all we have to do is look at the intercepted arc. But it's a little bit bigger than a normal intercepted arc or the inscribed angle that's not made with a tangent. If you look, the intercepted arc is all this whole big arc over here, isn't it? It's this whole side of the circle. So let's say that we know this arc is 210 degrees. Wow, that's a big arc. It's over half of the circle, so that makes sense. So if this arc is 210 degrees, to find this inscribed angle, you take half. It's just really simple. Half of 210 is 105. Okay. That was pretty easy, right? It's just looking where the vertex is. This one vertex is on the circle, so it's half. Now, to figure out this side would be pretty easy. We know that a circle has 360 degrees. If we take 360 and we subtract 210, we're left with 150. So that means this arc over here is 150 degrees. Well, this is another inscribed angle, isn't it? And it's half of the arc. So I take 150 and divide it by 2, and I get 75. Now, notice something else. This is a tangent line. How many degrees are in a line? I hope you said 180. 180. 105 plus 75. There's our 180 degrees. So we could have actually figured out this 105, subtracted it from 180 to get 75 on this side. And we're done. 75 here, double to go bigger to the arc, and you get 150. Okay, so that is how a tangent angle is, or an angle is figured out with a tangent as one side of the inscribed angle. Okay, now let's give you guys one to try. Okay, here's my circle. Here is my tangent. I'm going to pretend like it actually touches right there. And I am going to give you an angle. This angle right here is 50 degrees. Okay, I want you to find arc A, B, and arc A, C, B. So what's the measure of arc AB? And that's just a minor arc, a smaller arc. And then I want you to find the measure of ACB, this major arc on this side. So take a second, pause it, work it out. I'm going to go ahead and do the answer. Okay, this is 50. This arc must be 100. Okay, because I double it to get the arc. I'm going for the little angle to the big arc. Now, two ways to do this one. I could figure out this angle over here and then double it to get the arc, or I can use the fact that I have 360 degrees in a circle to figure out this missing arc over here. So since I'm looking for an arc, I'm just going to go ahead and subtract it. 360 minus the 100 gives me 260. So that means arc ACB is 260 degrees on this side. Well, just for fun, let's go back and work this angle back here. This arc is 260. To go back to the angle, I go smaller. So that's 130. It's half. And that would make sense. This one's 50. Its linear pair would be 130. And we're done. That was your problem. So I hope you aced that one. Okay, what is next? There is another type of angle we need to look at. And that is an angle. This vertex is not in the middle of the circle. It's not on the side of the circle. It's what I call the nomad angle. It has no specific spot to be. It wanders around the circle, okay? So, what's that one going to look like? If I have two chords that cross in a circle, but they do not go through the center. So we're going to call the center C, okay? Notice these two chords are not crossing through the center. They're crossing through a point, let's just call that A. So I'm going to call this X, Y, W, and Z. Okay, what do we know about these two angles? They're vertical, so they're going to be the same. The same with these two angles also, okay? Now I'm going to give you some angle measures, or some arc measures. If I know arc WZ is 110 degrees, just the arc, and then arc XY is 50 degrees, because it's smaller. They're not going to be the same, and they're not going to be the same as the central angle, because remember, this vertex is not at the center. I need to figure out this angle right here. Okay, what I'm going to do is take the intercepted angle, or arc. So I'm going to go from A, and I'm going to look and say, okay, that's 110. Then I'm going to go to the other side. From X to Y is 50. And all I do is average them. So I'm going to add them up. 110 and 50, and I get 160. Now I've got to average them, so I have to divide that by 2. So that means this angle is 80 degrees. And what do we know about the vertical angle? It's 80 degrees. Okay, so that's how it works. You take the two intercepted arcs, you add, divide by 2 to get the two arcs that are nomad arcs. They're not in the center, they're not on the circle, they're just wandering around the circle. So you take intercepted arc 1, let's call that arc 1 plus arc 2 divided by 2, and that gives you that nomad angle. And there's your formula. It's just as simple as that. Okay, I'm going to stop here because it's been 9 minutes. And wait a minute. I still have less than a minute, but I can do this really quickly. I'm going to give you a problem, and I'm going to work it on the next video. Okay, here it is. Here's your circle. Draw your circle. Here are your two angles. This one is 120. This one is 40. What's angle X and what's angle Y? That's your problem. I'll see you on the other side and give you the answer.